With humor, I have to say I led a double life as a photographer. One in black and white and one in color. I lived and grew up in the black and white period of photojournalism. I never had the time and the luxury to think about inventing my own color theory. I was interested when color came also in expressing things that happen around me in time, and because I always think that's the strength of photography, to decide the decisive moment, so to speak, to click in a moment or come up with a picture that never comes back again. For me, the best was always when I was independent or I had a project which was my own, because when they gave me an assignment, I never really knew exactly what they wanted. So I survived because I came sometimes back with an image they didn't expect. I had to do industrial work, I had to do journalism, but very often I tried to step away from all this and look for my own image wherever I was. And I think maybe that saved me from becoming cynical or thinking, well, I couldn't add anything more the minute we lost all the magazines. Still this kind of joy going, and with my curiosity going and discover the world which goes on, and discover myself in that process. There is nobody known in the book. I mean, people sometimes say, René, he just photographed all the famous people like Picasso or Corbusier. It was, in these cases, my personal interest to see, and finally, for Picasso, it took me 6 years to get to him. Some others, with Corbusier, over 10 years to build up a personal relationship. But here I felt it was mankind that was for me at stake. And they are anonymous. I could have put in the portraits of politicians, good ones, bad ones, of the painters I favored or artists. But I wanted to have the unknown man or woman or child speak to me, which expressed in my travels the whole range of humanity which I was capable to grasp. The book starts now in green. It gradually goes into blue, and then it goes into brown, and then it goes into orange, into yellow, and into red. These are the different color threads. People might not particularly notice it, but it's a kind of rainbow or something, or a sunset, that gradually the different colors show up. So here you see this man who is standing on the rubble of his destroyed home. In the background, you have big container ships loading Korean cars onto the ship to export them to the States and to Europe. And they needed more parking place for those cars, so they just went there and bulldozed whatever it was in the area. And the man was completely, it could have been the bomb of Hiroshima or World War I or II. So what I'm trying sometimes in pictures to resume in one thing, a kind of a feeling or an expression. And the man looks devastated, but behind there is man's progress, which always happen at the cost of somebody else. What we see here is what was possible, but it illustrates at the same time the impossibility of catching everything. And I think I have to go on in living in this kind of dilemma, because you felt very often that you couldn't exactly render what was there. But I think you have to look at and say, well, the man could see some of the things that happened in the 20th century. And some of these pictures should probably tell people about what really happened. and how it happened, and now in color, why not?